Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to give some information about the test class. Like what is the use of test class? So basically, the Salesforce made it's mandatory that for Apex class there should be at least 75 percentage of test class coverage for a class. Okay, so the 75 test class coverage, that means if you have 10 classes, so it does not mean for the all the 10 class you should have 75%, but average, like if you are running a test class and entire of the assistant class coverage should be 75%, not in individual class. So that means a class if have a 0% and remaining 9 class, if you run all this together, if all running together, if it's getting average of like 75%, then it will allow to deploy the class in the higher environment. But that means for a class we can deploy a class with a 0% coverage as well, but with all together we should have a 75%. That means all the 10 class, including 10 class, if you like 2 or 3 classes 0%, but remaining 7 is covering 75%, then we can able to deploy. But for a trigger we should have at least 1% of code coverage. That means if you are deploying 10 triggers and out of 10 triggers, like 2 triggers have 1% of test class coverage, and remaining, like running the class, remaining 8 will covering is covering for the 75%. That means we are able to deploy these triggers. That means for Apex class we should have like minimum 0%, and for a trigger minimum is 1%. So while writing a trigger class, there are some like things that need to be keep in mind. Like for a batch Apex we use test.Start test and test.Stoptest. So what is the basically use of this one? So basically this test.Start and test.Stop basically bypass the limitation of the Salesforce. That means if you are, if there is a batch which is inserting more than we can say like 10,000 record. Okay, so what happened, because in the Salesforce we have limitation of 10,000, uh, we cannot perform 10,000 DML at a time, so we will be getting exceptions like uh, DML exceeded. Okay, so more than 150 DML exceeded. So that time we should have to use this test.start and test.stop test. So basically what happened, like the whatever the code is written inside that, it will be counted as a one DML. Like it may be happening like numbers of times from the batch, but it will count as a one DML. So that is the reason we are using test.start and test.stop to bypass the governor limit of the we can say SQL query, or we can say what's called DML and all. Okay, it is better to write the test class in a we can say at least we should have the test for 200 record. Okay, and there should be test data factory where like every time we should just call that method, and then we can use the creation updation of the record. Okay, we should have test data setup as well in the Apex class, so that we should not have to create every time the record in the test class. And keep in mind that we should not allow the C all data equal to true, because what happen, once you make C all data equal to true, so it may be failing in the higher environment if there is no data. So at that time it will be difficult for us to deploy in the higher environment, because we will not find the data and then it will fail. And never do the hard coding in the test class. Okay, and apart from that, like try to like less method in the test class, so that, and try to call numbers of different method in the same test method, so that we should the code should not be that much lengthy. Yeah, that is good practice for the test class. Yeah, thank you for watching my video.